Do you remember Los Matadors? No, of course you don't. No one does. No one who likes wrestling remembers them, but they do remember El Torito, because El Torito was the best. I, for one, love that wrestling is becoming more and more of an inclusive place. I love that there's more diversity and interesting people coming into wrestling than ever before, and they're not being held down due to their life circumstances or anything like that. However, I hate that one of the most diverse corners of wrestling has also been kind of neglected in recent years. During the 60s, 70s, and 80s, little person wrestling was a big deal. Now, granted, there weren't exactly federations built around little people, but there were entire groups who would go across the country, around the world even, and they would be valued members of the show. Even in WWE, they had Hornswoggle and El Torito for a number of years. They had Tiny the Terrible during the 90s. I hate that was once a very potent corner of wrestling has kind of gone by the wayside, because I think that when you get down to it, some of the most interesting and memorable characters from the past decade of wrestling were characters like Hornswoggle and El Torito, and it's a shame that they're just that way because they were joke fodder when they put on amazing matches, even with each other. Go back and watch WeLC. Yeah, I know, horrible pun for the match, but it was a good match. It's one of the best TLC matches. All that is to say, I miss El Torito. From Mattel's WWE Basic line, this is El Torito. And yeah, this was actually back when Mattel would do something cool like this. Because El Torito was a smaller person, he was given the cheaper toy line of Basic, yet he was given elite level articulation, instead of making him a Build-A-Figure or even worse, a release all by himself. Which, granted, that's more of a Hasbro move anyway, looking at you, Black Series Yoda. But, you know, it's still nice that they did that. Taking a closer look, and I think that they got El Torito perfectly. Wrestlers with masks can be hit or miss with Mattel, especially like 5-10 years ago, but they got his mask perfect. And then I love his big poofy shoulder pads here. They even remembered his tail here in the back, which is articulated. And speaking of, you have an ab crunch, universal shoulder, 9 degrees at the elbow, good wrist articulation, universal at the hip, which was actually DC Universe Classics hips, a cut here at the thigh, single joint at the knees, and the ankle here, which doesn't sound like much nowadays, but at the time that was the elite articulation scale. This guy was basic, which was basically glorified 5 POA figures. So yeah, I'm more than a bit impressed by the value for your money here for your El Torito. Look, I'm just saying that if they had to get rid of one member of Los Matadors, forget it, they should have just got rid of Primo and Epica. What are they doing? You should have kept El Torito. He was the star here.